Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, we want to say good morning. You have entered into Bridging the Nations, and we are excited. We don't take it lightly that you probably are eating your breakfast, getting ready to go someplace, whatever you are doing. We just want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are Bridging the Nations, and I'm Antoinette Marie Williams, aka Antoinette Marie Speaks, and we're just here to help you with all of that humanity and placing that divinity in so that you can be exactly the greatest human being that you can be. So we're here to inspire you, to encourage you, to uplift you. We might sing you a song today. Lady Queen might even sing y'all a song on today. We're going to see how and what happens. And so today, our topic is who is in your delivery room? Who's in your delivery room? That must be somebody. Somebody came in the delivery room on fire this morning. So go ahead. So we're going to do our intro. Lady Queen, Miss Shamika Willis.
Yes, ma'am. I am Shamika Willis, also known as Lady Queen. And like I told you before, I came to motivate you with the word of God. Because understand, when God put us on this earth, He wanted us to live even a certain type of way. He wanted us to live our best life, and we still have access to that. So I came to remind you just about that. So I'm excited about what's about to happen. Now listen, family, listen. Before I say this, what I need y'all to do is first press the heart button. It's tap to clap. So you press the heart button, you just clap your little heart out, okay? The second thing I need you to do is share to every group and page you're associated with, because we just don't want to keep all this good news to ourselves. It'd be selfish, okay? It'd be selfish if you kept it to yourself. It'd be selfish for you to say, you know what, let me see what they talking about first. Then I'll decide what. Just have faith in God, the God in us. It's the God in us, okay? And trust and believe. You want to share this out because it's really, really important. So share this out to anyone that has a purpose, and that's everyone. Everyone has a purpose. So share this out and just have a little faith in that. So now I am going to introduce. Look, present our brother King. This is our brother King right here. This dude right here, let me tell you, he came to break bread. Y'all ain't heard from him in a while, so you better be ready. You better be ready, brother King. Tell him what you do.
Thank you, Lady Queen. Yep, your boy is back. I've been on a 3-week sabbatical, driving kids around the country playing basketball. But your boy is back this morning, and it is going to be a bread breaking moment to remember, because when the three of us get together, I mean, the two of them held it down last week, and I was listening to it, every word hanging on it, like I need this for my life right now, and it was phenomenal. And we're gonna build on that conversation this week. So it's looked like Facebook is just now catching on. So thank you, Angelique, for all of you all out there. Go ahead and call your mama and them and let them know that they are about to go live. See, the challenge with most, I got to break bread already early. It's been a while. I ain't been here in a minute. The challenge with most ordinary, regular people is they don't get the right information. You can never, how can you hear without the right information? You got to get this information, and we're going to bring it this morning. So go ahead and tag them in and tell them to come on, holler at your people, because they are about to break bread. Antoinette Marie.
Yes. And so what? So this is the thing. Wow. Last week, we had a really great conversation about a whole lot of stuff. So one of the things we always tell y'all, get y'all something in y'all hands so y'all can take these notes down. Because I know y'all still tagging folk. So yet last week, we were talking about how, like what's in your hand. And let me tell you, one thing that we do know is how God and our great I am, God just is fantastic. He's amazing. And so we started talking about what's in your hand. And then all of a sudden, I tell you, God's spirit came up in and was like, hold on, we're gonna prep y'all to what's gonna happen on next week. And so Lady Queen came in and she started talking about the birth, and we were like, oop, hold on. And I was like, oh, yes, Lord. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're going to do that next week. So today we are speaking about who is in your delivery room. So as some of y'all know, I have 7 children. I birthed 4. I have 3 bonus children. And out of those 4 that I birthed, let me tell you something. A lot of times when God has given us something. Oh, y'all needed a scripture. It's going to be the same one from last week. Go ahead. If y'all really need one, we can do 2 Kings 4, 1 through 7, 2 Peter 1, the first chapter, the 3rd verse. We can do Exodus. We talked about Moses. 4th chapter, the 2nd verse, the 10th verse, the 11th verse. Okay, because I always know we have some fantastic theologians out here that have like doctoral degrees in theology and master's degrees in theology. So I want to honor you as well. So one of the things as I started studying about this, I started to recall how, like when you first found out, like when I first found out that I was pregnant and I was, married, and I was like, oh, yay! It should be a celebratory moment. And so I started thinking about and that experience of knowing that you have something new that is growing inside of you. We're going to take care of y'all too, man. Just give me a second. I'm going to build this up for you. So when you have something new, you have something great that you're looking forward to, something that came from you, something that came from your husband, and now the process begins. And so as I started thinking about that, even in trimesters, it reminded me of any time you have a vision, anytime you have an initiative, you better be real careful of who planted it in you. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right there. You gotta be careful who planted the seed. You can't just have any old body. I know it's Sunday, but this is how we got to do it today, because this is how God gave it to me. You can't just have anybody going in and out. You can't just like you can't have anybody going in and out of your delivery room, right? So you have to be very, very sure. Be sure. You got to be very sure of who has planted the seed. Because let me tell you this, a lot of times what happens is that we sometimes are around a lot of people, our circle, our tribe, our network, our community, and we will not even knowingly, people will say things, and then all of a sudden you'll come up, you'll be like, oh yeah, I have an idea. But is that really your idea? And is that idea really something that you should do? See, a lot of times people have really great ideas and people do really great things, but is that something that you are supposed to be doing? Is that something that is supposed to be growing within yourself? Right? And so we have to be very, very careful who we are surrounding ourselves with, that will then plant seed within us. And then all of a sudden we're growing an initiative, a leadership objective, whatever that seed is, because this is what I do know. God always says to us that when he gives us something, it should not add sorrow to us. It should not add sorrow to us. So when you know that you are pregnant, it shouldn't add sorrow to you, right? I know a lot of times some of us say, well, when I got pregnant the first time, it was just something happened. Okay, let's deal with that. So sometimes we'll have situations where God is saying to us, listen, I know that you got this, but I ain't really wanting you to be doing this right here. It's not really for you to be doing it, right? And so as we continue to grow and we continue to advance, think about what is already in you. And then you got to think about, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because I want to say this to you, beloved. Some people ain't really happy that you are pregnant with a great seed. Because some people see what you're doing, whether it's on social media or wherever, and they want to do the same thing that you doing, and they think they can do it the exact same way that you are doing it. right? And so we have to think about who is it, and we have to start being very intentional about who we're surrounding ourselves with, right? I remember, so many of you know I'm actually a birthing doula, right? And I remember there's like 4 segments. And so there's something called a birthing plan. With a birthing plan, you are the mom, predominantly. The mom goes and she sits down with her doula and she says, "This is who I want to be in the delivery room. I want this, I want incense, or I want whatever it is, frankincense, or they typically now don't let people do candles." Do you have a doula that's on your side that's going to help you push your vision through? Somebody that's going to help you stay focused? Somebody that's going to give you maybe a different perspective, but somebody that's going to mean you well. So we're not messing around with individuals that every time you talk about your vision, that they're saying, "No, you shouldn't do it. Why should you do it? That's too big for you." Right? And so we're in this season and in these times right now, when you got a great vision and God has given you a great vision, be careful who you surround yourself with. You got to. And not only that, be careful what you surround yourself with. The things that you see, what you're looking at, you got to be careful, because what we do know is this, is we want to produce a fantastic, healthy baby. You want to have a baby that is not having breathing problems. Come on, I know some of y'all gonna catch this, right? That it can breathe on its own. Come on. So I know that you're looking to create this, whether it's a nonprofit or whether it's a new business. And when it has gone through the trimesters, can it breathe on its own? Or do you have to every single month ask for something? Do you every single month have to ask for money? Do you every single month have to ask for, "Oh, we need help with this. Oh, we need help with this"? So think about that when you are creating something, whatever that something is. That something for some people could be a business. That something for somebody else could be ministry. That something for somebody else could be anything. It could be a relationship. If you know that you travel, if you know that you travel for your employment, can your marriage sustain you being gone for a month? Or can it not? Can it? And so we want to make sure that your relationship, your business, your initiative, your career, that it can breathe on its own. Because what I do know is this: when a baby is not at full term, come on, God. And I'm in a hotel, so y'all spare. I got people looking. It's all right. They're gonna catch this too. What I do know is this: is if your baby cannot sustain itself, if you deliver too early, you might start the lungs may not be healthy. They may not be as developed, right? And I know you want it quick, and I'm almost done. I know you want it quick. I know you want it fast, but you got to go through the trimesters. Be all right with the time. Be all right with you saying, I got to take my time with this, right? So I'm gonna pass it over to Lady Queen. Y'all would be so interested right now. Let me tell y'all, I had 3 people. These people like, she said, "God, oh no, we got to get up out of here."
Hey, you got the captive audience this morning, huh?
Yeah.
Online and in person.
Yeah.
Turn
Go
the
ahead,
screen
Lady
around.
Queen.
You know what? I seriously, God is so good, even the way He does things. We understand that we reproduce after our own, and when I say after our own kind, I'm talking about even the purpose that God has given you, the gift that God has given you, is you're going to produce that. And a lot of times you'll hear people say that as your baby, because this is something that you're going to produce. But not only will it kind of line up with maybe even things that you've been through in your life, will it kind of be able to help even with that gift and the people that you're called to, the people that resonate with you. But us talking about be careful who's in your delivery room. Whenever I was reading a few other scriptures and looking at Revelation chapter 12. And if you look if you read this, for those that maybe have not read this part of the Bible, Revelation chapter 12, it talks about the first sign from heaven. And it talks about a beautiful woman and how she was crowned. Now, understand, this has, we can get a few revelations from this. We understand that this is when also the angels were sent, the third of the angels with Lucifer were sent down to earth. I understand that from my theologians, but I want you to see something else in this also. This woman, it says she was very beautiful. She had the sun at her head, the moon at her feet. Like, it begins just to explain a bunch of, just describe her. And it says the first sign. And then the second sign was a dragon was in front of her, ready to devour as soon as she birthed. And so when I looked at that, I said, you know what, God, like, you put us on here on this earth. And whenever someone starts working in their purpose, you start to see really their blossomed walk with God. You start to see the sun that really shines in their blossom walk with God. But what I realize is the enemy is seriously sitting there just waiting. Now, you didn't invite him into the delivery room. You didn't say you wanted him in. But the thing is, he's sitting right there ready to devour as soon as you birth this baby, as soon as you birth it. And so I was really reading this, and I was like, okay, God, give me even the revelation from that. Understand that when we're in that position, we become vulnerable. We become exposed. But in order to deliver our baby, we have to become exposed. And God will put us in a position where a lot of things begin to expose itself, because he wants you. He has a purpose for what he wants you to deliver. So you'll become exposed to a lot of things. And you're saying, okay, God, well, it makes me susceptible to other. It makes me. But the thing is, see, the great thing about God, if you're in the right position, if you allow God to put you in that position, guess what? A little further along, I believe it's in verse 3 or 4. It said that as soon as the baby was delivered, God grabbed a hold of it so that the dragon could not devour it. And so you have to make sure that God has put you in that position, because a lot of times, sis, bro, we feel like it's time for us to deliver. We put ourselves in a position to deliver, and we deliver those premature babies. And guess what? It can't thrive. Guess what? It is on life support. Guess what? It's struggling just to do a natural thing of breathing. As soon as the baby comes out, as soon as it feels that air, most of the time, most babies will take a gasp of air, because that's the natural reflex of being in this atmosphere. But the thing is, because of the fact is, we're trying to put ourselves in position, and it ain't even time yet. It ain't even time. And what I realize is, with God, he's such a great God. He knows that the perfect timing for you to deliver. But you're like, well, God, people been saying, I look like I'm ready. People been saying that I'm ready because of the way that we said that. Whenever our belly start to drop, oh yeah, you about to deliver. Oh, we said that. We said that. Well, God, they even tell our husbands what to do to help us, right? Right? Look, this grown folks conversation today. But listen, look, they even say all these things because they say, oh yeah, she ready. She ready. Listen, when I tell you, you better make sure that this is such a God thing, because the dragon is standing right there, just ready to eat it up, ready to devour it. But see, if God put you in that position, God has you in the position where he grabs it before the enemy can even do anything. And let me tell you, when it's a God thing, because when it's a God thing, you're in position. But what I read further along in this scripture is, after God takes the baby, she runs into the wilderness. God places her in the wilderness to hide there. Wait, hold on. You telling me that this gift from God, now I'm going to go through a period of wilderness? That's why I tell you, you can't allow people to say, oh, you know why you're going through that? You're running from your gift. Let me tell you, this is me and God on another type relationship. I don't let Anybody, because what I realize is sometimes we'll end up in those wilderness places, but it's anointed by God. It says it was for a purpose. Even Jesus was led into the wilderness. It was for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
A purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going into the wilderness, and we're worried because we're like, well, God, if it was you, if this is something from you, why am I in the wilderness? It's a part of the process. And that's one thing that I had to get to the place where I understood that no matter what goes on, it's a part of the process. It's a
Yeah.
part of the process. I can't be like, you know what? Well, I should be further along. And one thing that I realized is when I start to look at even the way that I look at things. I'm like, okay, God, am I looking at this from the right angle? I heard someone say this, and I believe it was Miss Cindy Trim, if I'm not mistaken, or it might have been TD Jakes. But they said about take the 5 people that you are most affiliated with, and you are the medium of that. Like you are the average of those 5 people. So I started kind of looking at the 5 people that I'm around, and I realized that it was almost like a Abraham thing. And when I say an Abraham thing, and listen, when I say an Abraham thing, what I'm saying is God had told Abraham that he wanted him to go right, and he told leave everything behind. But Abraham wanted to bring his nephew Lot. And a lot of times we will drag people along with us, wanting them to have the greatness that we have. So we'll drag people along. But understand, even the word Lot in the Hebrew means cap. So we have to be careful who we allow, because listen, if you're the average of the people that you hang around and the people you associate with, you keep putting a cap on what God wants to do for you. You keep putting a cap on what he has for your life. Listen, he birthed this baby, and understand we have a lot of, and that's why I said, Lord, this can go different ways. We have a lot of people that you should still be in the stage of learning and still be in the stage, and I say the adolescent stage, but you're trying to birth a baby and you can't nurture that baby. You're still in adolescence and you can't even nurture the baby. So we got a bunch of babies running around here that have not been nurtured. Babies having babies. You know what like babies having babies. So we really have to be in a position where God says it is time. So as soon as we do birth that baby, that God has it full in control. Brother King.
Oh man, you just gonna pass it to me like that? That hot? God, dog. Where am I supposed to pick that? Where am I supposed to pick that up? I gotta warm up. I ain't been here in 3 weeks. Now, phenomenal conversation for all you all. As you hop in the room, man, drop a message because they are breaking some bread already up in here. And who's in your delivery room? And my question would be, and I kind of got this thought as both of you all was talking, do we know that we're a carrier of a seed? Do we know that we're carrying something that there's a baby that's just now starting to germinate, just now starting to be formed in our womb? Do we know that when we came to the earth that there was something that was special given to us from day one? See, we talking about who in our delivery room, but most of us don't know that we're carrying something worth delivering. Some of us believe that our life is just mere existence and we're working to pay bills and we're exchanging our time for money and our money for things, and our life has no purpose. The moment when you don't understand the purpose for a thing, that's when it's abused. That's why I allow people to stay in my life that mean me no good, because I feel like somewhere deep down on the inside of my part of my delivering that I don't feel like I'm worthy of having people that are truly standing in my corner. Somewhere we believe that when I was coming up, they told me I wasn't going to be a whole lot. And I started to internalize that I'm not a whole lot. And that became the new baby in my womb. Oh, yeah, I'm going to break bread today. And see, I say it all the time. I'm my only challenge. I am my only problem. But at the same time, I am my only solution as well. And some of us are afraid to go to the delivery room because we don't know what's going to come out the womb. See, we confess one thing with our mouth and our actions have said a different thing. I said, I believe God that I'll never be broke another day in my life. But all I do is sit around and talk about how I can't pay my light bill and how hard it's so hard. We go and catch the spirituals. I'm struggling and straining on my way home. And we don't want to go to the delivery room because I don't know what might come out this womb. Oh, how is it that they say, Lord, Lord, depart from me, I never knew you? How is it? Because we had the wrong baby in the womb. And when it's time for delivery, what we think should come out don't come out because we've been meditating on other things day and night. I remember watching a show. I remember watching a show, and you know, they had two friends, and this lady was messing around with a white guy, she messed around with a black guy, and she got pregnant. And she didn't tell either one it was their baby because she was gonna wait till it was delivered. If it was white, because she was a Caucasian female. If it's white, she's gonna say it's a white guy. If it was mixed or a little darker skin, she's gonna say it's the black guy. And I know that's kind of, we see it a lot and portrayed in movies, but that's a lot of us how we live our life. We're so double-minded and unstable in all our ways, we can't judge the outcome of which we see in our life right now. Because if you catch me on Sunday, I'm high on the spirit, and I will say all the right things. You catch me on Wednesday, I will run over a car to get in a parking spot. Why is that motivational teacher because the seed that we carry is not pure. I'm gonna break bread tonight. I'm gonna break bread. See that, and that's the challenge for mere humans. Mere humans only look at conditions as they are, and they judge them based on what I physically see. And a spiritual-minded person, or someone who's connected to their divinity, looks at it and sees it through the eyes of an awakened I am. That the great I am has awakened my I am, and when I see a challenge, I see it through the eyes of awakened I am. I don't see a problem. I see a new way to a different solution. I just broke bread right there because some of us, we've been so down and out and can't really make it because we only see problems. Well, if I only had, another $1,000 a month, or we don't even say that. We don't say that. This is what we say. We say, well, I guess I'll find another way to cut back. I guess I'll cut down. Now I turn the refrigerator off at night when I go to bed. And see, we're always looking for ways to cut back. But I got to tell you, when you're a carrier of a seed, you're looking for addition. I ain't looking for ways to cut back. I'm looking for ways to see how can I expand my territory. I just broke bread for some of you all out there because you've been struggling, looking at your lot in life and just thinking it's not enough. They talked about it last week. Then you got to go back and look in your hands. You got to go back and look at your hands. You got to take confidence in the seed that's on the inside of you. Who is in your delivery room? My question is, what is your seed? What is your seed? The law of Genesis, and Lady Queen hit on it. The law of Genesis says that the seed is always within itself. If I want love, I what? Sow love. If I want peace, I sow peace. If I want joy, I sow joy. And most of us, the carrier of the seed that we're carrying, we're confused. And we don't really trust what I'm carrying is enough because I speak on it and I think about it in so many different ways. I'm telling you, you gotta make your way prosperous and have good success. God didn't say, hey, I'm gonna give it to you day one. He said, you gotta meditate on these things and who's in your delivery room. And I'm not talking about the other people. I'm talking about which version of you. Which version of you is in the delivery room?
That's good.
Is it the version of you that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me? Or is it the version of me, I can barely get along today? Which version of you is in your delivery room? Because that determines your ultimate success. See, we're talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to break bread. Angelique the artist. I love the name change. Angelique the artist. That's the awakened I am. Call me as I see myself. I am the artiste. And so in that delivery room, there's a few dynamics going on. And I'm talking about you being the carrier of the seed. And that delivery room, I'm about to break bread. That delivery room represents all 24 hours of your life. In that delivery room, and see, that's the thing I love about God, because it's all about consistent, intentional actions that determine future success. And it's about who are you bringing to that delivery room? Are you bringing the person that is ready to spark a revolution that says, man, it doesn't matter what comes up against me, I'm more than a conqueror? Or if you're the person coming to the delivery room where I just don't want that much pain, I don't know if it was meant for me. I don't know if I can push. And the doctor steady yelling, push. I just don't know if I can do it. No, you better not abort that baby. You better not abort that seed. I'm telling you right now that there's so much opposition to the seed. I know Lady Queen talked about those top 5 people, but I want to know, who are you with those top 5 people? Are you the same with person 1 as you are with person 5? Oh yeah, I'm gonna break bread today, because some of us got a work Anthony, we got a home Anthony, we got a Bridge of the Nations Anthony, we got a thought. There's so many different versions of who Anthony is that sometimes I'm confused about which Anthony is supposed to show up. And see that there's so many different versions, and I guarantee you, if you look at your top 5, I'm getting ready to pass this mic. If you look at your top 5, I guarantee you, you're not the same person with everyone. And the moment you become the same person in whatever environment you're in, is the moment where you let yourself out of people prison, and now you qualify for greatness. You got to be introduced to who you are, no matter in what situation. You got to understand your delivery room is the most important room that you'll ever come in. What is it, motivational teacher? Your delivery room is when you're at work. I'm delivering right now today. In this moment I am. When I'm at home, I'm delivering right now at home. That I got to deliver being a father. I got to deliver being a husband. No matter where I am right now, I'm delivering, because I understand that the seed is within itself. And you will never be able to outperform how you nurture that seed. Antoinette Marie.
Wow, man. Ooh. That's all I really could say. I mean, to tell you, Anthony, I love what you said, how you switched this. You was like, which version of you is actually in the delivery room? That is so powerful. And we have to sit sometimes and really just even in that saying, if we really want to be real with us, that's the part we got to work on.
Hey, that sounds so good. I'm writing it down. I didn't even get that when I said it. I got to write that down
now. Because a lot of times what I think happens is that we're trying to be something else depending on the environment that we are placed ourselves in. And if we just be real with ourselves, recognize that we are a great seed. Good morning, Mr. Allen, Miss Allen. If we recognize that we are a great and fantastic seed, and this is what I remember. See, an apple tree might take 5-6 years to actually develop apples on it. But one thing I know, like a lot of times what scientists have done is try to hybrid fruit. Mm-hmm. And anytime you try to take one seed from authentically a seed, the purity of that seed, and then you try to create something else and thinking it's going to be what the original seed was, it's never going to be the original. It's never going to be the original. So some of us really need to kind of pull some layers back and say, listen, I am Antoinette Marie Williams. This is who I am. I'm Antoinette Marie Williams here. I'm Antoinette Marie Williams. If I'm going to Australia, I'm Antoinette Marie. I'm Anthony here. So we understand that we may have a different role, but the true identity of yourself should never have to change. Your true identity, you should never have to feel like, oh, somebody's come, such and such came into the room. Oh, now I got to switch. We are not bipolar, tripolar beings. We listen now mentally, because when you try to function and change who you are just because something came up into the room or someone else came into the room, I'm gonna tell you something that's mentally draining. It's mentally draining. And so I just really believe that God has called us all just to really be authentic, be really who we are, be intentional. And let me tell you something. Some people ain't gonna like you. Just be okay. Listen, come on. Everybody don't like you. Everybody don't like Anthony. And he got on that yellow shirt. Everybody be looking at Anthony. Some people be like, listen, what kind of, I don't even like that fraternity. Some people gonna look at Lady Queen and be like, look at her. She making some coins. She got a bag. Now she done changed her hair 5 different times.
And she got on the
Ah, and
sparkling
she got
earrings now.
and she got on sparkling earrings and her nails are done. Listen, in season and in out of season. Who's going to check you about being who you know that God has told you to be? We all develop, we all blossom, right? But even in the aspect of developing and in blossoming, you should not have to regress because somebody else don't like you, said something about you. We are dispelling fear. And that's one of the things even about, who's in your delivery room. When you know that God has given you a vision, you know that you have the power to deliver this baby, this vision, this employment, whatever it is. Okay, so don't lose heart. Do not lose heart. You are powerful because God has created you with all power. You are absolutely powerful, and God has already given you the strength to deliver it. God has given you the strength to deliver it. But this is what I do know. You cannot go through life when you know you have, where you have something that you know is growing within you, whether naturally or supernaturally, or just really just tangibly. You cannot go and expect you're going to have a healthy baby if everything that you eat and see and viewing is hot, flaming hots and pinto beans and you eating Laffy Taffy. Your baby is going to be weak. So if you know that your vision is to create a dynamic business, so what do you have to feed yourself? You have to feed yourself on information that talks about entrepreneurship. You got to read. You have to read. I'm going to say that again. You have to read and do your research. If you know you want to open and establish a nonprofit, you you have to read and fill up your belly with those great things. But God has given you the strength. He's giving you the power. And I think what sometimes happens is that whatever you put in, gotta come out. A lot of times we want all this wholesomeness, but we have meditated on things that are not wholesome the entire 9 months. And then we're like, oh, I want my baby gonna be great and powerful, and my baby's gonna be 9 pounds. And no, but you done sat here and fed your baby all kind of crazy stuff. You didn't even take no prenatal vitamins. You didn't eat not one fruit, not one vegetable. But then all of a sudden you're like, yes, I'm going to be investment king. No, you are not. You can't sit and watch crazy shows when you know you have the same amount of time to be watching and to be edifying what you want to birth. So I can't sit and say, I am a multi-millionaire. I will lend to the poor and I ain't got no money. How am I gonna be a multi-millionaire and I'm not doing multi-millionaire work? How am I going to do that? See, I think a lot of times we think that God is Santa Claus. We do. We sometimes think, well, I done prayed about it, and God said, and then, loop, it's gonna happen. That's not how God is. We got to stop putting God in that type of box, because that's not how you are. That's not how we are. And the Bible says that we are the image of God, right? So now we got to look at it because God has given you the power to do it. Whatever you want, you can do. Stop thinking. I said this week. A lot of times, and this is a prayer I will never pray again. I'm for real, for real. I had this prayer and I was like, God, just give me patience, Lord. He said, oh, you done prayed for patience? Okay. When you do prayers like that, God don't just be like, fairy dust, patience. And all of a sudden you wake up in the morning, you're like, I have patience. I feel it in my spirit. No, God will put you in a situation that will make you have patience. Will give you an opportunity for you to get some patience. It might be your son or your daughter or your employer or whatever, a contract, whatever. They didn't do it at the time that you wanted them to do it. And you like, well, God, what's going on? God, I know you told me. He said, wait a minute, hold on. Then you pray for patience. I'm giving you an opportunity to be patient. That's how you get patience, even if it's courage. A lot of times we'll say, oh God, give me the courage to do it. God said, okay, well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to be courageous. And that's that hard work. That's that work. I'm telling y'all, we done been taught some stuff, and it's just like, oh, you just pray for it and God is going to do it. Yes, pray for it. But when you going to do some work? You think that when you are pregnant with a vision and you getting ready to deliver, you think the only thing you got to do is just lay down there in that bed? Baby, you got to push. Because if you do not push, what happens? You're going to be taken somewhere trying to get an emergency C-section. We don't want to have to do that. You don't want to have to do that, because this is what I know. When you have to, and I don't know this physically because I have never had a cesarean, but wouldn't you rather, if you possibly could, just deliver that baby naturally? If you could, right? Most women that I know would love to be able to do that. So please get this understanding. You are powerful. God is giving you the image of Him. God is giving you courage. And when you have received courage because you've had to go through the fire, through the limits of the fire. Okay, all of that He's giving you have to go through the fire. You did. And you can do it now, right? Because what I don't want, a lot of times when we have visions and we have initiatives and we have missions, that things that we want to accomplish, sometimes you need to be really cognitive. Again, who's in your delivery room? And then through all those months and days where you are, you're eating well, you are developing and you're getting your strength and you're still exercising. Maybe you still playing tennis, whatever you are doing. Listen, continue to do that, because what you don't want is, you don't want your baby to be misaligned. You want to make sure your baby is aligned correctly so that your baby can be birthed, so that your baby can actually go through the birthing canal. Come on, God. So that your baby can go through the birthing canal. You want to make sure that. I remember with my daughter, I went to the hospital, and one of the nurses said to me, she said, we're going to have to send you home. Come on, God. She said, we're going to have to send you home because your baby is transverse. So, baby's supposed to be like this, head first, feet. My daughter was like this. She was like, no, this feels too good. I ain't finna go. I ain't finna put no head in no birthing canal. I'm not ready for absolutely none of that. Sometimes when that happened, I remember saying because I did not want to go home. I had gained about 50 pounds. I just wobbled. I didn't even walk anymore. I was so big, just wobbled like a duck, right? I said to this lady, and her name was Colleen, I'll never forget it. I said, if you would give me 1 hour, see, we got to do the work. If you would give me 1 hour, my baby will be in the birth canal. She's like, well, I don't, how are you going to do that? I said, first of all, I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to do some work. So I literally, me and my big belly and my daughter, because I knew my daughter could hear me. Listen, you better be careful who is in your ear. Be careful who is in your ear. So I remember standing up and I said to my daughter, I said, Anna, now you better speak to it. You better speak. You better speak to it. Because if you're not speaking to it, I can guarantee you somebody else may be speaking to it. So speak to your vision. Speak to it. So I'm sitting there, I'm standing there in the room, and I apologize if there's any background noise, but I'm standing there, and I said to my daughter, I said, Anna, I said, you must align yourself. This is a true story. I said, Anna, you must align yourself. Because for one, I was extremely tired. For two, this was my fourth baby, and I knew I did not have any children that was less than 8 pounds, 2 ounces, right? And I knew I was done. because this was it. And I said to her, so I remember my grandmother saying to me, you can position, come on, God, you can position your baby and make sure that your baby is aligned. So I took that and I took my hands and I placed my hands on my belly and I started, and I could feel her head, and I started turning her myself. Sometimes, even when you don't have the support that you feel that you need to, come on, God, when you feel like you don't have the support that you really need, you can take it because God has given you the vision. You can take that vision and you can turn it. You can fashion it. You can create it. And I started turning, literally turning my baby in my own womb. Come on, God, turning my baby in my own womb. Sometimes you got to do it for yourself. Within 45 minutes, they came back, they checked, they said, well, if she's not aligned, it's unfortunate because we're going to have to send you back home. I said, send who back home? Well, let me get on this bed so y'all can just see, because I knew that she was aligned. She was in the canal. See, if it's yours, it will obey. If it's yours, it will obey. But if it's something that somebody else then call themselves planted in you and you didn't even know it or you're not in alignment with that, listen, some stuff you can't speak to. But if it's yours, if God says that you are a multimillionaire, if God says that you are this, if God says that you're great and grand, why would you not believe it? You have dominion. We have dominion in us, right? So sometimes you got to move. Stop waiting for other people to tell you what you need to do. You don't have to wait on that. Wherever you go, the power of God is in you. So it doesn't matter if you are here, if you are in Alaska, if you are in Atlanta, if you are in Tennessee, it don't matter if you're in New Orleans, if you're in Florida, the Spirit of God will go with you everywhere you go. Stop letting people hold you up telling you, well, if you move to Georgia, that ain't where God told you to be. Who? We gotta stop that. Stop letting people spew that because that's their vision. Can I tell y'all something? Sometimes people have visions for your own life. Other people will have a vision for your life. Ain't that a little bit backwards? You're going to have a vision for my life? It's called manipulation. It's called control, right? So you have the power within yourself. And today, I want to just make sure two things: that you understand that you have that power, that you also understand when you see things are not aligned properly, right? Recognize that, right? And then thirdly, that you position yourself so that you are able to birth this baby out. That you position yourself so that you are able to bring forth the greatness, the abundance that God has already instilled within you. The seed is already great. You have to nurture it. You got to water it. You got to feed it. You got to do all of that. You got to study to show thyself approved, a workman that leadeth not to be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth. You got to do all that work. Because listen, if God didn't want us, if God was going to do everything for us, why he give us a brain? If he was just going to bloop, 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 we're not robots. You pray and then you work. You pray, you get the knowledge that you need, and then you do what? You activate, you execute. You activate and you execute. So whatever you have decided that you want to do, believe this. You got to do some work, beloved. So Shamika finna come on and also tell y'all a little bit about what you really have to do. Lady Queen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know, I was gonna go somewhere, even with a couple of things both of you guys have said, but I saw what one of our guests said about the loss and about losing, as far as baby. Now, understand we're definitely talking spiritual, okay? And I, and we're not naive to to the case even spiritually that can happen. Now listen, there's only a few ways that can happen spiritually, because see, the great thing about God is when God impregnates you with a seed, there's no that he will abort it. That has to be a self thing. That is definitely self. Um, and I want to say self-inflicted. But let me tell you, there's a few ways as far as spiritually. Um, One thing that I've learned, especially those mothers that have went past 40 weeks, after the 42nd week, the doctor will tell you, look, we're going to have to induce the labor, because of the fact is your baby can actually become septic to you, right? So, and which would not only kill your baby, but would kill you. Now, I want you to think on the spiritual aspect of this, because yes, even though, I was in the medical field for 12 years, and, I completely understand this. I've delivered a baby in backs of trucks and all that stuff. But let's just say this woman, is unable to birth this baby at 42 weeks. It becomes septic to her, and also so it could kill her, because understand, when the infection gets in the blood goes everywhere in the body. So it can kill the woman, also kill the baby. Now, like I said, we're talking about spiritually right here, in our walk with our gifts. If you choose not to allow, because listen, that's one thing about God. He does not rape anyone. He does not force anything on anyone. If you say, you know what, God, I'm pregnant with this gift. I'm pregnant with what you have, in me. I can either force it to come out too early, which would be considered I guess and I want to say not really an abortion, but if you birth too early, it is
Mature.
a miscarriage. But understanding, just if you try to hold on to something, it can become so septic to you to where it is spiritually killing you. And listen, I was almost spiritually dead. So I've been there. I could tell you about being spiritually dead, and when I say spiritually dead, understand I was doing the religious thing of going to church every single Sunday, doing the religious thing of, I'm reading my Bible, not necessarily to get anything out of it, but this is what I do. I pray, God, thank you for waking me up this morning. It wasn't a relationship thing. It was not, something that it was more like how much quantity versus quality. You know what I'm saying? So I was in a place where I was dying spiritually because I was not truly living. God gives us a purpose and a gift for us to truly have life, right? He gives us this gift because he wants to understand, if you're not working in your gift and, having your gift and all that stuff in you, you're not truly living. You're not truly living. Not until I said, you know what, God, I'm seriously dying around here. I'm seriously dying. Not until I surrendered myself to say, you know what, God, however, look, you can make it harder on yourself during birth, trying to cross your legs and everything. You can make it hard, and go through more pain. But the thing is, if you surrender, if you even just say, you know what, God, whatever it is that you want to do inside of me, look, I'm willing and I want to be used by you, and allow him to even nurture that baby. And whatever he says, that's what you hear. So that's what's feeding your baby. Your baby's getting stronger and stronger because you're feeding it those necessary things. It's becoming stronger and stronger. And believe me, because I'm giving it those necessary things, because I'm watching what goes in my ear. And believe me, I have become so cautious about this now, because I realize how powerful listening can be. I realize how powerful, because understand, if I keep listening to something, that's what's now become, has become me. Because they tell you, listen, you listen to something, you're pouring into your subconscious. That's what comes out in the conscious. So whatever comes out in my conscious, that is what my reality is. That's what my reality is. So if I protect what comes into my subconscious, if I protect what I listen to, if I protect what I allow people to tell me, then guess what? Whatever I allow in, that's what's going to become my reality. I hear I can do it, that I've been created. I'm beautifully and wonderfully made in his image, that I have dominion here on this earth. Guess what's coming out in my reality? that I have dominion in what he has for me to do. That it doesn't matter what's going on, and it don't matter in my environment. It doesn't matter if I struggle. None of that stuff matters. Because guess what? Guess what? It was all for my good. I would give I look back and believe me, it hurt when I went through it hurt when I went through a divorce. It hurt when I was like, God, I really want my kid's father. And all of that stuff hurt. It hurt being abused. It hurt, feeling like you're not good enough. It hurt being told that I wasn't good enough, that my worth was based on it. All of that hurt. But guess what? I wouldn't change it for the world. You know why? Because it created who I am today. Like, you can't tell. I am queen. I am Lady Queen. Nobody can take that from me. You know why? Because I went through that mess. I went through all of that. So I'm like, I look back and I say, God, that's beautiful. And what you did and the way that you did it, a lot of times we're like, how can that be God? You doing this? What God would, you know what? See, God doesn't see present. I told you, he's not in time. He doesn't see present. He sees finished, the finished work. He sees me at the end, and he knows how to get me to that end. He doesn't see what I'm going through. I mean, he sees what I'm going through. He doesn't see me as what I'm going through right now. As far as, oh, you know what? She's broken up, or he doesn't see me as broken. He sees me as finished. He sees me as beautiful. He sees me as fearfully and wonderfully made, the way he created me. The way he created me, that's where he sees me. Look, we're just waiting for this physical, this natural to catch up with the spiritual. So if you continue to allow what's positive, and Antoinette Marie spoke about that. If you read those books of entrepreneurship, if you read those books even of becoming a better version, let me tell you, there's no greater book even than the Bible. It'll tell you how to live. If you feed yourself and say, you know what, God, and I told one Sister Queen I was coaching, and she was like, I don't understand the Bible. And this is how, and see, God will allow whoever you need to help to come towards you. This is the way I felt. I didn't understand the Bible. I've been in church all my life. How do I not understand the Bible? But the thing is, though, God allowed me to start hearing the stories of the Bible. And I was like, man, they went through this. They did this. And that's how I actually started to understand the word so I could feed myself. But the thing is, I was hungry. I was desperate. I wanted my baby to live. And sometimes we have our babies and we need those Marys in our life to make our baby leap and remind us the joy of being pregnant, remind us the joy of the process. And that's what I went through, that joy of the process. Because believe me, God still ain't done with me. He's still doing a great, mighty work. But even in the midst, I say, God, this is so beautiful. The way you're about to do this, like, I know your word cannot fail. This is so beautiful. And so I want to remind you that even in that, allowing God, that's one thing. If it's a God thing and you're allowing God will not make your baby miscarriage or take your baby from, especially if you're willing to be used by God. And we're talking about spiritually, like I said, so understand, unfortunately, there are some times that, even those that miscarry and, have to go through that process, but believing that if you're in line with what God says, if you're in line with what God wants you to do, you are the one that can actually miscarry because you tried to produce it too early and he didn't say he was ready, because everything he does is well. So I just wanted to definitely address that, because we do appreciate your comments. We appreciate, and we don't want to not recognize them. Brother King.
Yeah, I love what you said, that he doesn't see me as broken. He sees me as finished. That right there is a bread breaking moment. And then Antoinette Marie talked about, I told y'all I take notes, talked about positioning yourself to activating and executing. And I'm getting ready to sum this conversation up. And Lady Queen, I'm gonna turn it back over to you to close us out. And only the way the Lady Queen can do it. If we did our job this morning, I know my favorite book, the Bible says, when Mary met Elizabeth, her baby leaped in her womb. And this morning, if we did our job right, your baby should be leaping in your womb. knowing that there are greater days ahead, understanding that there is something so special on the inside of you, that God is using you as an incubator of his seed. You were sent to this earth with a specific purpose, with a greatness deep down on the inside of you. Let's get this right now. Let's get this right here this morning. I don't care. Lady Queen just said, I don't care what you went through. I don't care how bad it was. Yep. My daddy was in and out of prison. My uncles were in and out of prison. I was the first male on my dad's side to get a high school diploma. I was the first male on my mom and dad's side to get a college degree. Doesn't matter how they label you as a statistic. It's all about how you label yourself. Forget the label that they put on you. And I think America has done something so wrong, and all throughout, they all want to put labels on people. And Jesus, when they asked Jesus, what were you doing? He said, I'm about my Father's business. That should be the only label on your head. I am about my Father's business. My awakened I am is looking to create opportunities in order to bless up. I've been put here for a specific purpose, and around me, I should be a leader in my sphere of influence. Make no mistakes about it, ladies and gentlemen. You are meant to be a leader. I don't know if that was just me. I'm a good follower. No, make no mistakes about it. Part of your seed is leadership. No matter where you are, or even in your house, or at your job, or in your business, leadership is a part of your seed. And so no matter where you are this morning right now, your baby should be jumping, because you got more in you than what you've lived today. That you understand that my life is a seed, and that if Jesus gave his life for my life, then the seed is within itself. My life in itself should be transformational. Because if he gave his, I'm looking for an exact harvest. That I understand that my life, no matter what I've been through, no matter what it looks like, no matter how hard it's been, no matter how hard I had to fight, that there's something worth fighting for, because God has still held that hedge of protection around your life. Don't you worry about not making it. Don't you worry about not getting in. I'm telling you right now, you keep pressing toward the mark of your high calling. Keep pressing toward the mark of your high calling. Don't worry about what it looks like. Keep pressing. The worse it look, the harder you got to press, because there's a lesson in the pressing. There is a lesson in the pressing. One of the darkest days, I'm telling you, where I was trying to rediscover myself. And my life was being disrupted when I was living with a colleague. I had a 6-figure salary. I was living with a colleague in a room the size of a closet. And at that moment, my life had been disrupted, because I knew that there was more to me. But at that moment, I could not see it, and it caused me, I frustrated my seed. Yeah, I'm going to break bread. My seed became frustrated, because what I know was not what I was seeing. And man, I was sat across the screen just like this. I was on his computer. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was around 5:30 in the afternoon. And I heard a fireball guy. I always believe in self-development, self-help. He talked about how our self-preservation of fear will always cause you to live in less than what God has already given you. Self-preservation and fear. The moment where you begin to close your hands so tight, because I got to hold on to what I got, that nothing could get out, but nothing could get in. That was the moment I was released. And that's the moment my baby in my womb said, boy, you have come full term. And now, once you come full term, it doesn't mean that the journey is over. Now you got to begin to raise this baby. You got to understand to get this baby proper nutrition. You got to understand that you got to feed this baby a growth mindset. You got to talk to that baby and tell that baby how awesome it is, no matter how much sleep you're not getting, because it doesn't look like what you thought it should. You still got to sit there and talk about how great I am. You got to sit there and talk about how good God is through you, no matter what it looks like. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the life that you dreamed of, the life that you want, is right on the other side of the story you keep telling yourself about your baby. The life you want is right on the other side of the story you keep telling yourself. Stop telling yourself I'm not enough. Stop telling yourself that my body is old and broken. Stop telling yourself that I don't have the resources. Stop telling yourself that I belong in Lodabar. No, you were created a little lower than Elohim, with creative power, that you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And that's the language that we have to speak over our life and speak over this seed that's been deposited in me from day one. And I'm telling you, just like Henrietta said earlier, that all on the inside of her was a culinary degree. But it took her, she had to go through the storm and the rain in order to get there. But it doesn't matter because she's gotten where she's supposed to be. And angels in heaven, her grandmama, her mama them, her auntie them, everybody that poured into her walked across that stage when she got that high school diploma. And everybody that poured in her is going to walk across that culinary degree school when she get that degree. Why, Aunt? Because I'm telling you, there are so many people pulling for you. There are a cloud of witnesses behind you right now that's wanting to see and wanting you to enjoy your success. Lady Queen, close us out.
Definitely. Listen, y'all, when I tell you we appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming, because we truly believe. Now, I want to leave you with this nugget too. If you want to go to even the next level, or you're like, okay, what's next? I know I'm pregnant with a seed. What's the next thing? Begin to give on the level that you want to be on. And when I say that, a lot of time we talk about those 5 people that we hang around. We're the average of those people. But if you begin to give on the level, on the realm, the spiritual realm of where you want to be at. So whatever I sow, I reap. If I want peace, I give peace on that level. If I want joy, I give joy on that level. If I want, even time, and I'm not saying having more time. I'm talking about even the support, someone else support, or as far as time, sow that time into something else, but sow on the level that you want to reap the benefit off of, so, that would be one of the nuggets that I definitely leave for you today. We appreciate you guys. Listen, make sure if you have not yet, press that heart button, then press share to every page and group you're associated with. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on next Sunday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.